We have a question from Nathan. Hi, Nathan. That says, what do you think on this trending witchcraft rush? What do you think people who are joining this trend should know, and how do you think people who have been into the craft should navigate through it? I feel like it's time to educate, but I feel like this trend is to help Llewellyn sales.
Also,
That is
example, Sephora Intro to Witchcraft Kits.
Okay, I do have an answer to this.
That is a complicated question, so this is going to be fun.
In particular, I just recently got in a very public argument with the founder of an organization that teaches witchcraft classes. This made it onto my Tumblr, this made it onto my Facebook page. In particular, this person advertises that her witchcraft school, meetup group, etc. welcomes all witches, anyone who identifies as a witch. And then she made a very public post about how she doesn't think someone who calls themselves a witch as a trendy thing, as a, she referred to Instagram, she said someone who had read a couple of books, basically someone who was in the practice of witchcraft for aesthetic reasons was not really a witch. Now, she also said during this post that, witchcraft was a spiritual path, that you had to be spiritual. She also said that she recommends witches join a group, initiate, dedicate, join a coven, learn from them. And she stated that she did not believe that witchcraft was an inherent genetic ability. Okay, there's a lot to address here. I'm actually going to work backwards.
Can I actually interject for just a moment?
Mm-hmm.
So, one problem with this, and one problem with a lot of the Llewellyn rush, is that there has been a conflation of Wicca and witchcraft, and that drives me nuts.
And in particular, this person does not identify as Wiccan, but she
absolutely
incorporates a lot of the Wiccan ideas. Like in the post, she called out to the goddess to address this. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. 1. There are certain traditions all over the world that believe that witchcraft is a genetic ability, that it is something that you inherit, that it runs in bloodlines. I don't believe that. I believe that anyone can learn how to be a witch. But I'm not going to walk up to someone from those cultures and tell them that they can't believe that. A lot of the people that believe that witches are an inherent genetic ability come from non-white, non-Western, non-European traditions. In fact, there are some places, some people that not only believe witches inherit their abilities, but they're not quite human.
Wow.
It's not. I don't have the right to march up to someone whose people have been practicing for 50,000 years and tell them that they're wrong. I do not have that right. Secondly, not all witches are spiritual. There are atheist, agnostic, secular witches, and there are witches that belong to magical, not spiritual traditions. Yes, there's a difference. There are witches that belong to spiritual, not
that are pursuing personal spiritual development, but are not on any kind of organized or structured spiritual path. Is that?
Yes. I said I was working backwards. The other thing she said was that she recommended new witches initiate, dedicate, join a coven, etc. I vehemently disagree.
Completely disagree.
I think that when you're first getting started, it is very easy for the predators in the community who either want your money, your body, your force, building up their power structure, to take advantage of you. I've witnessed covens say, we have the answers, we have the path, and you have to spend $500 in our store putting together your beginner altar before you can begin. I've witnessed places say, you're new to this, you have to do our dedication ritual that involves this sexual practice with our high priest. I'm not saying that everyone's a predator. I'm not. But when you're just starting out, it's very easy to think that one group has all the answers, especially if you're in a place where there's not a lot of public groups and you kind of have the one option. And then our community is very insular and exclusionary and self-protecting, and we don't like to talk about the missing stairs. And so we get these predatory groups that just keep having this predation be perpetuated upon our newbies.
Now, I would say that when you are first getting started, if there are multiple public groups in your area, it is a good idea to go to and observe those groups. Don't initiate, don't swear yourself, don't let yourself be taken advantage of, go with a buddy. We've got other videos talking about sort of safe ways to go and
We
observe
have a whole
rituals.
class that we did on how not to join a cult on accident.
Yeah. But I think that going to multiple groups and observing, and if a group won't let you observe without like swearing to them first, that's a red flag right there. To get some idea of some of the options, not all of them, because no area is going to have representatives of all of the options you have. It's not possible. But to get an idea of what some of your options are and what some of your local groups are like. And because seeing multiple different perspectives is really great for driving home the point that no one group has all of the answers.
Check out Meetup. Check out Witchbox. Look at what different groups there are in your area. And join groups on Facebook, like there's a Feisty Witches on Facebook, there's a Cauldron something or other group on Facebook. You can check out sacredtext.org and just read how many different traditions there are out there before you feel like there's one fixed, perfect, has all the answers way, and that you should, back that up with your checkbook and your body.
That kind of goes with joining any community. To be frank, you get that a lot in the BDSM community too, where like the minute you go to a munch, someone's like, "I'm collaring you." I'm sorry, I've met you twice.
Right, exactly. Don't let someone you've met twice collar you.
Right.
Just don't. But to the original question, because I kind of ran through her whole post and answered everything else. What do I feel about trendy aesthetic-based witchcraft? 1, you are a witch if you have the will to claim the title witch. If you call yourself a witch, you're a witch. That is how I have always perceived of this. Okay, there is no witch pope. Nobody gets to excommunicate you because you don't witch the way they want you to witch. That's not how it works. This is not a dogmatic path. There is no one right way, and anybody who says that there is selling something. Now, in particular, the trendy aesthetic Instagram thing. I don't want to over-focus on cis women's journey towards empowerment, but I want to touch on the idea that witchcraft is, in particular, one of the only places in pop culture, in media, where you see a woman, trans, cis, non-binary, and occasionally identifying as a woman, whatever, have power that does not derive from the intersection of their story, their path, their journey with a man. Now in particular, mostly cis men, male gods, male authority figures, male love interests, the male hero. Witches, who are often portrayed very negatively in media, are often shown as being cis women who have power. They don't have to beg, borrow, steal, or blow out of a cis man. That is going to attract people. That is going to attract people. And a lot of the most amazing intersectional feminists I have met in my life journey came from that. And they came from sort of leaving patriarchal, Judeo-Christian, extremist, fundamentalist American culture into feminism, into supporting LGBTQIA rights, into sort of an understanding of the oppression and dehumanization of other groups from that trendy Instagram witchcraft. From saying, I want power that doesn't come from where I'm told power comes from in our culture, which is white, straight, cis men, generally affluent, generally older. There's a difference between the high priestess, who, Gerald Gardner is going to tell you has to submit to her high priest, and the witch. that archetype, I worry about how much the trendy Instagram witchcraft displays it as being cis, pretty, thin white women, and like that's all it belongs to. It's getting better. It's getting better. I worry that the trendiness is culturally appropriative. I worry that the trendiness is racist. I worry that the trendiness is fatphobic. I worry that the trendiness is ableist. Do I worry that it's like false?
Diluting the validity. Okay, here, can I try and sum this up? There is nothing intrinsically wrong with trendy witchcraft. Just like there's nothing intrinsically wrong with any other form of witchcraft where you're not impinging on someone else's free will and or harming others. There's enough space under the umbrella of witch for everyone who's practicing it. And just because your version and the trendy version aren't the same doesn't make theirs invalid. It is, however, potentially dangerous, for a couple of reasons. One, because anytime something becomes trendy and popular, there is often a rush to erase the cultures that it came from and to essentially take it over. It's cultural colonialism.
Yeah, cultural colonialism. Let's put some white spackle on this and call it ours.
And the other, so the second sort of danger, which is a little bit more esoteric, is that assuming that you practice magic or witchcraft and you believe that it's real, there are things out there that respond to the self-identity of you're a witch, and claiming that label may draw attention that you don't want. And it may draw attention that you don't want from non-corporeal entities, and it may draw attention that you don't want from white supremacist Christians.
I want to say, one of my big concerns with the whole, I don't like trendy Instagram witchcraft because it's going to make people think that we're not valid. People already don't think we're valid. You're going to step on people who are just starting to explore their identity as a witch to please people who are going to keep kicking you anyway. And also, like, cultural acceptance is a good thing. It wasn't that long ago that it was illegal to be a witch publicly in the United States. And now we have people publicly posting pictures of their rituals on Instagram. That's amazing. That's amazing that they're not scared they're going to lose their kids, that they're not scared they're going to lose their jobs, that they're not scared that someone's going to show up and kick their door down and take them to be hanged.
Ostracization from the community.
Yeah, like the fact that we're going, we don't want our traditions to be publicly accepted. The fuck?
Like, at the end of the day, if you want to maintain your... Okay, so this is an extreme example. If you want to maintain your secret teachings that have been in an unbroken line within your family for thousands of years, then do that.
Make sure you have some kids.
Make sure you have family to pass it on to. Other people practicing witchcraft in a trendy way does not mean that you cannot practice it in your own way. I do agree that there's definitely a cashing in commercialism aspect, which is an unfortunate side effect of existing under late stage capitalism.
That's
literally everything is commodified.
That's a separate thing. I am concerned about the commodification of witchcraft, not the cultural acceptance of witchcraft. I am concerned that capitalism wants to get money from everything, including you feeling like you have any power.
So sort of my two concerns with it are the commodification and the potential for cultural colonialism. And I think that those are risk factors that come with the trendiness of witchcraft.
And they like extinction of certain plants, like the Sephora kit that Tina was talking about came with white sage in it.
Right.
In particular, though, that one, they were sourcing it directly from the native people.
But, like a lot of people that sell it in bundles and like a crystal kit, they don't. Like Barnes & Noble has witchcraft kits, and it's just, they're pulling it safe.
Yeah, actually the fixation on white sage is a whole other issue.
That's a whole different issue. Also, I want to respond to something that was said in chat. on camera. Someone said, I know people who are worried that people are going to be led astray by a teenager who says, I've been practicing 2 whole weeks and now I'm a high priest or a high priestess and I know everything. And okay, here's the thing. You're not wrong, that's a semi-valid concern, but that can happen in any context.
Right, I
at
know
the
a
end
guy
of the
who took
day-
a 6-week course in being a guru.
Right.
He just recently told me that I'm too domesticated.
You're never
You're
gonna
not a
get
feral
that.
cat.
Same guy. I'm just gonna be laughing about this guy for the next like 14 years.
But sort of responding to this semi-seriously, yes, that's a valid concern. But like,
It's not unique
it's just,
to us.
it's not unique to witchcraft. It's
Teenage Bible camps.
like teenage Bible camps exist.
6 weeks herbalism courses.
6 week survivalism courses where you're now an expert exists. 1 month long rope training courses where you're now a certified rope dom or whatever exists.
Massage therapy.
Oh, right.
Basically massage therapy creation mills exist. So the idea that people who do not have expert knowledge will claim expert knowledge and cause harm is absolutely true and valid. Unfortunately, it's hard. So you get to decide between gate guarding to keep people from claiming expert knowledge who don't have it, and accept it, and not gate guarding and opening the community. And I am of the personal opinion that gate guarding the community does damage to it that is very hard to recover from, whereas failing to do so and having people claim expert knowledge who don't have it.
When we had and I mean, like, it's getting a little better, it's still a problem, but when there was a huge amount of gate guarding in the community, it actually perpetuated
Yeah.
people claiming to have skills and knowledge they didn't have. One of the things I noticed was this tendency of sort of the Gerald Gardner,
I forgot about the
Alistair.
certified herbalism classes.
Yeah, Raven brought that up. The Aleister Crowley, Gerald Gardner fanboys would claim all of this immense spiritual knowledge and really take advantage of new people in the community because there weren't any alternate perspectives and because non-white people were kept out of the community.
That's a huge problem with BDSM.
It's a huge problem with the BDSM community. Like, yes, if you open it up, there's going to be some people claiming that they have expert knowledge they don't, but that was happening when it was closed too,
Yeah, that's true.
and there were fewer voices opposing it.
There's also like a couple of branches of like Wicca where they actually do consider you a high priest or priestess the minute you decide that you want to follow that path.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
Completely different.
I'm
They don't have
familiar
different
with
titles
the-
for in training.
Exactly, they don't have different
I'm
titles.
familiar with the everyone here is a lord and everyone
Yeah.
here is a
It's
lady.
exactly that.
I actually just broke somebody's brain because I was like, well, what if I'm neither male nor female? And they were like,
Powers
Your Excellency. Let's go with that. As far as someone said in chat that I want to respond to out loud for the people who aren't watching chat here. Someone pointed out that they think that people's biggest problem with trendy witchcraft is that it makes them feel less special because now more people are doing it and they can't be their special thing anymore. I think that's probably accurate for at least some people.
Yeah.
I think that
Just finish your thought. I'm flagging that I have something to say when you're
okay.
done.
I think that at the end of the day, if you are basing your feeling of worth on how few people are doing the same thing that you are, that's probably not healthy.
Right.
I think a big problem with the Instagram witchcraft is the lack of representation of anyone who isn't Instagram popular. Instagram popular tends to be very biased towards people who are very good with camera angles and makeup and who are what Western American culture considers to be attractive, which means they tend to be white with European facial features, very expensive makeup, push-up bras, and gauzy gowns. And there's a danger that if somebody doesn't feel represented in #witch on Instagram, they won't feel like a witch. I believe that a lot of the power as a witch that you have comes from feeling like a witch. So my advice is take crappy photos of yourself. Take double chin, triple chin, tummy roll, broad-nosed, short-nosed, broad-shouldered, sallow-skinned, hirsute pictures of yourself and hashtag witch. Show the world that witches are not perfectly waxed. And I'm not, okay, if you are one of those ridiculously beautiful Western featured skinny white women that are practicing witches, I'm not saying don't be a witch. I'm
She's
saying don't say that
you're
that's
not
the
only
only
ones.
thing a witch can be. I'm not trying to invalidate you. I'm saying we need more validation of everyone else. Take honest witch pictures. Fill the witch tag with honest witches. Our terrible altars that are in like a shoebox are like the herbs that we meant to bundle and didn't get to till they went all
So many
slimy.
jars. So many jars. Collection of jars. Half of them are empty. I don't know what's in that one.
Definitely.
Is that
dry
a
Oh, God.
It's just there.
An inch of dust on at least half the jars.
My
Right.
rose bag vomited on the rest of my herb bed. So there's just like rose and chamomile covering everything else.
Yeah, just
Your cat lying
if
on
you're
your
concerned
caramel.
about the lack of representation,
Please let
get
me do it.
yourself represented in that tag.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
I think
Right.
that's everything I
Is
wanted to
that
say.
Um,